The warm glow of the apartment lights reflected off the framed photos on the bookshelf, snapshots of vacations, birthdays, and random candid moments that made up 2 years of Maya and Liam's relationship. She traced a fingertip over a picture from their last anniversary. Liam had his arm around her, grinning at the camera, his smile easy and confident. Hers was a little more uncertain. Had it always been that way? Maya sighed, brushing away the creeping doubt. Relationships weren't perfect. Liam had his quirks, sure, his habit of leaving socks everywhere, the way he texted through movies she was actually invested in, and his so-called honest comments about her appearance. Like the time she had dyed her hair a shade darker and he'd frowned, saying, "It makes you look older." But hey, at least you won't get carded anymore. Annoying? Absolutely. But not deal breakers. And now, after 2 years, she had reason to believe things were finally moving in a more serious direction. Liam had invited her to dinner with his work friends, a first. He never really mixed his personal and professional life, always claiming work was too demanding or that she'd be bored hearing business jargon. But this dinner? This was different. She wanted to make a good impression, so she splurged on a sleek, emerald green dress, something elegant yet flattering. A new shade of lipstick, subtle gold jewelry, heels that made her just the right amount of taller. She turned in the mirror, satisfied. When she stepped out of the bedroom, Liam barely looked up from his phone. "Ready?" she asked, giving him a little twirl for effect. He glanced up briefly. "That's what you're wearing?" Maya blinked. "Yeah." "Why?" Liam exhaled through his nose. "Nothing. Let's go." That should have been her first warning. The restaurant was upscale, dimly lit with soft golden chandeliers and a hum of low conversation. The kind of place where the wine list was thicker than the menu, and the waiters moved like silent ghosts in crisp uniforms. Maya followed Liam inside, her excitement bubbling despite his earlier reaction. She imagined the introductions, Liam reaching for her hand, pulling her forward with a proud, "This is Maya, my girlfriend." Maybe a casual arm around her waist. A sign that she was a real part of his world. Instead, the moment they reached the table, Liam barely acknowledged her. "Hey, you made it," one of the men said. Eric, she recalled from brief mentions. The other, Jonah, gave her a once-over that felt more evaluative than friendly. "She insisted on coming," Liam muttered, sliding into a seat. Maya's stomach twisted. "Did I?" She lowered herself onto the chair beside him, plastering on a smile. "Nice to meet you both. Liam talks about you all the time." Jonah smirked. "Hope it's all good things." Liam scoffed, picking up his menu. "Depends on the day." Maya swallowed, trying to ignore the awkward tension. She reached for her own menu, but before she could open it, Liam's voice cut through the moment. "Didn't I tell you that green isn't really your color?" She froze. Heat crept up her neck as Eric and Jonah exchanged a glance. "You never said that," she replied carefully. Liam shrugged. "Guess I forgot. Just saying, that blue dress you have? Much better on you." Maya's fingers tightened around the menu, but she forced a small laugh. Noted. The conversation drifted away from her, the three men discussing work, projects, promotions, office gossip. Maya tried to follow along, nodding when appropriate, but every time she attempted to contribute, Liam steamrolled over her words. She smiled politely, laughed at the right moments. But beneath the table, her hands curled into fists. Then came the final blow. Jonah turned to her, casually sipping his wine. "So, Maya, what do you do?" Maya sat up a little. "I work in retail. I manage." Liam cut in before she could finish. "She works at a clothing store. Nothing major." A stunned silence followed. Maya's heart pounded. "I actually manage a team." It's not real business experience," Liam interrupted again, waving his hand dismissively. "Not like what we do." Eric chuckled. "Retail's tough, though. All those Karens." Jonah smirked. "Yeah, but it's not exactly the corporate grind, right?" Liam leaned back in his chair, sipping his drink. "Exactly." Maya stared at him. The air felt suddenly thick, like the walls of the restaurant were pressing in. Was he embarrassed of her? Her voice came out smaller than she wanted. Liam, why would you? Look, he interrupted, his tone growing impatient. This is just different levels of work. You don't really get it. It wasn't the words that hurt the most, it was the look in his eyes. Detached, uncaring. She had always known Liam had a way of making her feel small sometimes. But this was something else. Then, as if he hadn't already destroyed her, he set his glass down and uttered the words that would haunt her for weeks. A girl like you should be grateful I even dated you. The world seemed to tilt. Eric stifled a laugh. Jonah outright grinned. Maya's breath caught in her throat. What? Liam rolled his eyes like she was being dramatic. Don't make a scene, Maya. It's over. We're done. Just like that. No conversation. No warning. No private discussion. She sat there, staring at him, willing herself to wake up from whatever nightmare this was. Then Liam and his friends stood. He didn't spare her a second glance. Maya watched as they sauntered out of the restaurant, leaving her behind like a discarded afterthought. Then the bill arrived. $347. A lump formed in her throat. Her hands trembled as she reached for her purse, the waiter hovering awkwardly. For 2 years, she had excused the socks, the texts during movies, the passive-aggressive, honest comments. She had brushed off every small cut, thinking they didn't mean much. But now, as she sat alone in an expensive restaurant with a bill she hadn't even contributed to, she realized the truth. Liam had never truly valued her. And worst of all, she had let him treat her that way. Maya swallowed hard, blinking back the sting of humiliation. She pulled out her card, handed it to the waiter, and forced herself to sit tall. If Liam thought he had broken her, he was wrong. The moment Maya stepped outside the restaurant, the night air hit her like a slap. Cool, crisp, and tauntingly fresh, as if mocking the suffocating heat rising in her chest. She stood still on the sidewalk, the city buzzing around her, cars rolling by, people laughing as they passed, completely unaware that her entire world had just imploded in front of an audience. Her fingers clenched around the receipt still crumpled in her hand, the inked numbers searing into her memory. $347. Did that really just happen? Her heartbeat pounded in her ears. Liam was gone. Just gone. No hesitation. No remorse. Just an arrogant, sneering dismissal in front of his so-called colleagues before walking away like she was nothing. Maya sucked in a shaky breath and forced herself to move. She didn't even know where she was walking, just away. The expensive heels she had so carefully chosen earlier now felt like tiny instruments of torture with each step, but she barely noticed. Her phone vibrated in her clutch. For a split second, a desperate part of her thought, maybe it's Liam. Maybe he realized he was cruel. Maybe he'll apologize. She pulled it out and checked the screen. Chloe, hey, how's the fancy dinner? Maya's throat tightened. Chloe, the person who had warned her, on more than one occasion, that something felt off about Liam. The best friend who had seen the tiny cracks Maya had ignored. The one who would have gleefully taken scissors to every single sock Liam had ever abandoned on their floor, just to prove a point. She could almost hear Chloe's voice now, sharp, protective, and completely unfiltered. Without thinking, Maya tapped the call button. Chloe picked up almost immediately. Hey, you done already? That was fast. Did you? She paused, then her tone shifted. Maya? What's wrong? And just like that, the dam broke. I just got dumped, Maya blurted, her voice shaking. In front of his work friends. He broke up with me, mocked me, and left me with the bill. Silence. Then Chloe's voice turned deadly calm. Where are you? Maya swallowed, looking around. Corner of Lexington and 34th. I'm coming. She didn't argue. 15 minutes later, Chloe's old, slightly dented Civic pulled up to the curb. The passenger door swung open before Maya could even process it. Get in. Maya climbed in without a word. Chloe took one look at her and swore under her breath. Jesus. He really did it, didn't he? Maya nodded numbly. The car lurched forward as Chloe pulled into traffic, one hand gripping the wheel so tightly her knuckles turned white. Tell me everything. And so Maya did. She replayed the entire humiliating ordeal in detail. The dismissive comments. The way Liam had belittled her career like it was beneath him. The way Eric and Jonah had laughed at her expense. The way Liam had spat out that final, gut-wrenching line, "A girl like you should be grateful I even dated you." By the time she finished, her voice was raw, and Chloe was gripping the steering wheel like she was seconds away from hunting Liam down and running him over. "Okay," Chloe said, her voice deceptively even. "First of all, I'm furious. Second, he's a pathological piece of garbage. And third," she threw Maya a sideways glance, "you know I love you, but I need to say it. I told you he was trash." Maya exhaled shakily, staring at her lap. "I know. And I get why you didn't want to see it. Really. But this? This is next-level sociopathic behavior." Maya wiped at her eyes. "I feel so stupid." Chloe let out a frustrated sigh. "You're not stupid. You're just nice. Too nice. You kept seeing the best in him, even when he was literally waving red flags in your face like a deranged matador." Maya let out a choked laugh. "That's an image." "I mean it," Chloe said. "Liam was never normal. He was always performing." Maya frowned. "Performing?" Chloe nodded. "Like, think about it. He was always curating his life. Always making sure he looked like he had his act together. But something always felt off." Maya hesitated. Deep down, she had noticed the inconsistencies. The way Liam dodged certain personal questions. The vague descriptions of his big projects. The fact that she had never, in 2 years, met his coworkers or seen his office. Now, the doubts that had once been whispers in the back of her mind roared to life. "I think he's lying about more than just being an awful person," Chloe continued, eyes flicking to Maya. "Are you sure he's even this high-level executive he always brags about?" Maya stiffened. She stopped. A memory surfaced, sharp and sudden. A few months ago, she had playfully asked Liam to show her his business card. He had laughed it off, saying, "I don't need one, babe. People know me." At the time, she had found it charming. Now it felt suspicious. Something cold curled in her stomach. "Chloe," she said slowly. "What if you're right?" Chloe gripped the wheel. "Then we're about to find out." Back at Maya's apartment, Chloe wasted no time. She grabbed her laptop, plopped onto the couch, and cracked her knuckles like a hacker in a spy movie. Maya sat beside her, heart pounding. "Let's start simple," Chloe muttered, typing Liam Walker into LinkedIn. A profile popped up. Maya leaned in, her breath catching. The title read, "Executive Operations Manager." Chloe snorted. "That means absolutely nothing." Maya hesitated. "Click on it." Chloe did. The page was mostly empty. No listed job responsibilities. No work history before the last 2 years. No connections that made sense. Then, at the bottom, a small note, "Joined company as an assistant in 2021. Maya's eyes widened. "Wait, assistant?" Chloe's fingers flew across the keys. "Let's see what we can find." Minutes passed in tense silence. Then, Chloe sat back with a triumphant smirk. "Got something." She turned the screen toward Maya. It was a company event photo from a year ago. There was Liam, standing off to the side, holding a tray of coffees. Maya's stomach dropped. No way." Chloe tapped the screen. "Oh, it gets better. Look at his badge." Maya squinted. The text was small, but it was there. Administrative assistant. Liam had been lying. For 2 years. Maya's hands clenched. She had spent 2 years believing in him, supporting him, defending him. And the entire time, he had been fabricating a version of himself that didn't even exist. Before she could process the fury bubbling inside her, her phone buzzed. A text. From an unknown number. She clicked it open. "Zane. Hey, this is gonna sound weird, but we need to talk. It's about Liam. You don't know the half of it." Maya stared at the message, heart hammering. Chloe peered over her shoulder. Who's Zane? Maya swallowed hard. Liam's coworker. Chloe raised an eyebrow. And he's texting you? Maya exhaled slowly. Something tells me we're about to find out just how deep Liam's lies go. Maya stared at the message on her phone, her heart drumming against her ribs. Zane. Hey, this is gonna sound weird, but we need to talk. It's about Liam. You don't know the half of it. Her fingers hovered over the screen. A million thoughts raced through her mind. Should she respond? What did Zane know? And why was he reaching out now, of all times? Are you going to reply? Chloe's voice snapped her out of her daze. Maya swallowed hard. I don't know. What if this is some setup? What if he's just another one of Liam's jerk friends? Chloe scoffed. Doubt it. He wouldn't have texted you if he was still Team Liam. Trust me, the real ones? They're too busy laughing with him right now. Maya bit her lip, then took a deep breath and typed out a reply. Maya, what do you mean? 3 dots appeared almost immediately. Zane, Liam's been lying to you. To everyone. I don't know how much you already found out, but there's more. A lot more. Maya and Chloe exchanged a glance. Maya, like what? Another pause. Then, Zane, can I call you? It's easier to explain. Maya hesitated. Every instinct in her screamed that she was on the edge of something big, something that would take the betrayal she already felt and multiply it tenfold. She exhaled. Fine. Her phone rang almost immediately. She put it on speaker. Hello, she answered cautiously. Hey, it's Zane. His voice was lower than she remembered, serious and edged with something like regret. Listen, I don't even know where to start, but I feel like you deserve to know the truth. Liam's been feeding you a pile of lies since the day you met him. Maya's stomach tightened. We just found out about his job, she admitted. He's not an executive. He's an assistant. Zane let out a short, bitter laugh. Oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Maya frowned. What does that mean? Zane exhaled. First of all, he's not just an assistant. He's a glorified errand boy. He gets coffee, picks up dry cleaning, and sits in on meetings just to take notes. Half the company doesn't even know his name. Maya felt her breath hitch. But he always talked about projects, presentations. Zane cut her off. No. He talks about other people's work and passes it off like it's his. The closest thing he's ever done to actual decision-making was ordering the wrong brand of pens for the office supply closet. Chloe snorted, but Maya couldn't even muster amusement. She pressed her fingers to her temple. I spent 2 years listening to him brag about work, and he never actually did anything. Not a damn thing, Zane confirmed. But that's not even the worst part. Maya's pulse spiked. There's more? Oh yeah, Zane sighed. Look, I wasn't going to say anything, but after what he pulled on you tonight, screw it. He deserves to be exposed. Chloe sat up straighter. Exposed for what exactly? Zane hesitated. Then, he's in massive debt. I mean, massive. The expensive dinners? The designer shoes? That car he flexes about? All of it's on credit he cannot afford. Maya's mouth went dry. Zane continued, voice grim. The guy is drowning. He takes out new credit cards just to pay off old ones. His paycheck barely covers the minimum payments. And the worst part? He talks like he's this big shot, but behind closed doors, he's constantly scrambling for money. Chloe let out a low whistle. So what you're saying is, Liam is literally 1 bad month away from financial ruin. Not even a month, Zane said. More like a week. If he doesn't come up with some cash soon, his whole fake life is going to collapse. Maya clutched her phone tighter. But why would he? Her voice trailed off as realization sank in. Chloe voiced it first. He dated Maya to look successful, didn't he? Zane sighed. Bingo. You're smart, put together, and, let's be honest, way out of his league. He needed you to make himself look legit. Having a long-term girlfriend made him seem stable and successful, like he had his life together. Maya's stomach twisted. It had never been about love. She had been a prop. A well-placed accessory in the carefully crafted illusion of Liam Walker. Her hands clenched into fists. I was there for him, she said quietly, anger bubbling beneath the hurt. When he was stressed about work, I comforted him. When he said he needed space because he was busy, I gave it. I defended him when people said he was arrogant. And this whole time, he was using me. Zane hesitated. I think, in his own twisted way, he liked you. But yeah, he used you. Just like he uses everyone else. Maya felt a burning pressure behind her eyes, but she refused to cry again. She exhaled sharply. So what now? Zane paused. I'm guessing he hasn't told his family about the breakup yet? Maya shook her head. No. His parents still think we're together. I was supposed to go to his birthday dinner this weekend. Silence. Then Zane said, very carefully you should go. Chloe's eyebrows shot up. Excuse me? Hear me out, Zane said. Liam's still banking on his lies holding up. If you go, and we expose him at the right moment, he won't be able to control the narrative. Maya's pulse quickened. You mean, let him bury himself in his own lies? Exactly, Zane said. He's going to get up in front of his family and spew the same nonsense he always does. But if we time it right, we can take him down in front of the people who matter most to him. Chloe grinned. Oh, I like this guy. Maya hesitated, her heart pounding with something dangerously close to satisfaction. She had spent 2 years putting Liam first, trying to be the understanding girlfriend, the good girlfriend. She had given him kindness, patience, and support. And what had he given her? A public humiliation. Maybe it was time to return the favor. Maya took a deep breath. Okay, I'll go to the dinner. Zane's voice was firm. Then we do this right. I'll be there. And when the moment comes, I'll bring receipts. Maya nodded to herself, a determined fire lighting in her chest. Liam had spent years crafting a lie. Now, he was about to choke on it. Maya sat cross-legged on her couch, her phone buzzing with endless notifications as Chloe paced back and forth in front of her. They had spent the last hour dissecting every lie Liam had told, every story he had spun, and every fabricated success he had paraded in front of her like a trophy. Now, she had a choice. She could move on, let it go, and pretend the last 2 years had never happened. Or she could go to that birthday dinner and let the truth unravel in front of everyone he had ever wanted to impress. Chloe was the first to break the silence. I know I said I was all for this plan, but I just need to check, are you sure you want to do this? Maya looked down at her hands, turning the idea over in her head. She had spent so long letting things slide. Letting him slide. When he brushed off her accomplishments, she told herself it wasn't personal. When he made her feel small, she convinced herself he didn't mean it. When he embarrassed her in front of his friends, she thought it was just a bad night. But it wasn't. It was a pattern. A design. A choice he had made over and over again. Maya exhaled. Yeah, I want to do this. Chloe's lips curled into a slow, wicked grin. Good. Then let's make sure we do it right. The next 2 days were a whirlwind of preparation. Maya combed through old texts, comparing them with what she now knew to be the truth. The business trips Liam had taken? Fabricated. The huge project he had been leading last summer? It was literally just a PowerPoint his boss had asked him to format. And the expensive dinners, the designer watches, the lavish image he had worked so hard to maintain? Every last bit of it was paid for with money he didn't have. Zane, true to his word, came through with receipts. Screenshots of Slack conversations where Liam tried to make himself sound important. Emails where he accidentally copied the wrong people, revealing that he had no authority in anything. A photo of his desk, a small cubicle tucked away in the back of the office, far from the executive floor he had always bragged about. When Maya saw it, something inside her cracked. She had spent 2 years thinking Liam was just mildly arrogant. But this wasn't just arrogance. This was delusion. And she had loved him. Had stood by him. Had trusted him. The anger that simmered beneath her skin felt unfamiliar, foreign. She wasn't used to being angry. She was used to being patient. Understanding. Forgiving. But not anymore. This time, she was going to make sure Liam felt the consequences of his actions. The night of Liam's birthday dinner arrived. Maya stood in front of her mirror, adjusting the neckline of her dress. She had chosen something simple but elegant, deep burgundy, fitted in all the right places, paired with gold accents that caught the light. She wasn't just dressing up to look good. She was dressing up to make an impact. Chloe appeared behind her, arms crossed. Damn, if I didn't know better, I'd say you were about to win an Oscar. Maya smirked. I'm about to give the performance of my life. Chloe grinned. Then let's get you to the stage. The restaurant was already buzzing when Maya arrived, 10 minutes late on purpose. She stepped inside, her heels clicking against the polished marble floor. The hostess smiled at her. You're with the Walker party? Maya nodded. Right this way. She followed the hostess to a large, round table near the center of the restaurant. Liam was there, dressed in a crisp blazer, wearing that easy, confident smirk he always wore when he thought he was the most important person in the room. His family was gathered around him, his mother, Denise, prim and put together, his father, Walter, looking every bit the serious businessman Liam had always claimed to be, and his younger sister, Leah, scrolling through her phone, looking bored. When Maya stepped forward, Liam's eyes widened slightly. He hadn't expected her to come. Good. Maya. Denise smiled warmly, standing to greet her. I'm so glad you could make it. Maya returned the smile with ease. I wouldn't miss it. She felt Liam's eyes burning into her, but she didn't look at him. Not yet. She slid into the empty seat beside Leah, who glanced up from her phone just long enough to whisper, Are you guys fighting or something? He's been acting weird all day. Maya simply smiled. You'll see. Liam cleared his throat. So, Maya. She turned to him, tilting her head innocently. Yes. His jaw tightened. Can we talk? Privately? She raised an eyebrow. Oh, but we're celebrating, aren't we? Besides, your family is here. And I wouldn't want to make things awkward. Denise chuckled. She's right, Liam. Let's enjoy the night. Now, tell us, how's work going? Maya could see the flicker of panic in his expression. He forced a smile. Work's great. Actually, I've been working on a huge project lately. Oh, you mean the PowerPoint? Maya interjected smoothly. Liam stiffened. What? The PowerPoint, she repeated. The one your boss asked you to format. The huge project you told me about. Silence. Liam's father frowned. PowerPoint? Maya leaned forward, resting her chin in her palm. Yeah. It turns out Liam isn't actually leading any big projects. Or making any major decisions. Or, she let her smile sharpen, working as an executive at all. Denise blinked. What? Maya pulled out her phone. Oh, but don't take my word for it. Here's his actual job title. She turned the screen toward them, displaying the photo of Liam's badge. Administrative assistant. The shift in the atmosphere was immediate. Denise's lips parted in shock. Walter's brows furrowed in confusion. Leah snorted. Liam, meanwhile, had gone completely pale. Maya, he said, voice tight, can I talk to you? No, Liam, you can't. Her voice was calm, controlled. Not after what you did. And then, with all the ease in the world, she told them. About the lies. The manipulation. The fake business trips, the debt, the humiliation he had put her through. She painted the full picture, the version of Liam he had worked so hard to hide. By the time she finished, the table was silent. Denise looked utterly devastated. Walter's face was unreadable, but his grip on his glass was tight enough to turn his knuckles white. And Liam? Liam looked like his entire world had just imploded. You psycho, he hissed. You just ruined my... Oh, no, Maya cut in. You ruined yourself. Liam's hands clenched into fists. A girl like you should be grateful I even... Say it again. Maya's voice was deadly quiet. Liam stopped cold. Go ahead, she continued. Say it. Say it in front of your family. But he didn't. Because now, for the first time, he was the one who had to sit in shame. And Maya? Maya had never felt so free. Maya let the silence hang in the air, letting Liam feel the weight of it. For once, he had no escape, no smooth lie to fall back on, no carefully curated illusion to uphold. He was just exposed. The restaurant, once filled with the hum of conversation and clinking glasses, felt suddenly smaller. The elegant chandeliers overhead seemed to cast a harsher light, illuminating the tension at their table. Denise was still staring at the picture on Maya's phone, her lips slightly parted in disbelief. Walter's face had turned red, his nostrils flaring. Leah, Liam's younger sister, was the only one who seemed entertained by the unfolding disaster, chewing on a bread stick while watching her brother unravel. Maya could see it all happening in real time, the panic in Liam's eyes, the way his hands twitched slightly against the table as if debating whether to grab his drink or throw it. Liam? Denise's voice was soft but firm, the kind of tone a mother uses when she already knows the answer but wants to hear the confession. Is this true? Liam's jaw clenched. Mom, it's not what it looks like. Maya snorted. Oh, please. It's exactly what it looks like. Unless you'd like to explain why you've been lying about being an executive for 2 years. Denise's gaze snapped back to Maya. 2 years? Maya nodded, feigning sympathy. I know. It's a long time to keep up a lie, isn't it? But Liam's very committed to his performances. Liam shot her a murderous glare. Enough. His voice was low, barely restrained. Maya, you've made your point. Oh, I'm just getting started, she said sweetly. Walter set his fork down with a sharp clink. Liam. His father rarely spoke during dinners, at least. That's what Maya had gathered from the handful of occasions she had joined them. But when he did, everyone listened. Walter exhaled sharply, then turned to Maya. I'd like to hear everything. If you don't mind. Liam looked like he wanted to bolt. Maya didn't hesitate. She took her time recounting the years of deception, the fake business trips, the exaggerated accomplishments, the reckless spending. She told them about the night of the breakup, how he had humiliated her in front of his work colleagues, how he had stuck her with the bill while walking out laughing. She painted the full picture, not just of a liar, but of a man who had built his entire identity on smoke and mirrors. By the time she finished, Denise looked physically ill. Walter's jaw was set in a hard line. And Leah? She burst into laughter. Oh my God, she wheezed. I knew you were full of crap, but this is amazing. Leah, Denise hissed, but she barely glanced at her daughter. Her eyes were still on Liam, her disappointment cutting through the air like a knife. Mom, Liam started, but Denise held up a hand. Enough. It was a single word, but it carried more weight than anything said all night. For the first time, Maya saw genuine fear flicker across Liam's face. Walter turned to his son, his voice controlled but simmering with anger. Liam, do you have anything to say for yourself? Liam's mouth opened, then closed. He looked like a fish gasping for air. He had nothing. Maya smirked. The man who had spent 2 years lecturing her about success, about ambition, about being grateful for his attention, was now reduced to nothing but silence. Walter shook his head in disgust. I can't believe this. Liam gritted his teeth. Dad, come on, it's not. It is what it is, Walter snapped. You lied to us. To her. For years. Liam's fists clenched at his sides, his composure cracking. You don't get it. He turned to Maya, eyes blazing. You don't get it. You've always been so self-righteous, so perfect, waiting for me to mess up. Maya blinked. Then she laughed. It was sharp, bitter, but liberating. You humiliated me, Liam. His nostrils flared. A girl like you should be grateful. Oh, there it is. Chloe, who had been sitting in the background with her arms crossed, finally spoke up. That's the line. A girl like you should be grateful. Say it louder, Liam. I don't think the entire restaurant heard you. A few heads turned at nearby tables. Maya's lips curled. Tell me, Liam, what exactly should I have been grateful for? The gaslighting? The condescension? The lies? Oh, or maybe the time you made me feel small just so you could feel big. Liam's face was burning now, his hands shaking. He looked like he was about to explode. But before he could, his grandmother, whom Maya had always liked, set her napkin down and spoke for the first time all evening. Liam. Her voice was quiet but firm. Sit down. Liam froze. Then, slowly, he sank back into his chair. Walter sighed heavily. We'll discuss this later. In private. His tone made it clear that Liam was in for a reckoning. Denise's voice was softer, but no less disappointed. Maya. I don't even know what to say. I'm so sorry. Maya took a breath, meeting Denise's gaze. It's not your fault. But I am done with this family drama. She turned to Liam. Enjoy your birthday. With that, she stood, smoothing out her dress. And then, just to twist the knife, she pulled out her wallet and tossed a couple of 20s on the table. For my drink, she said sweetly. Wouldn't want you to go into more debt. Chloe let out a delighted laugh as she stood to follow. As they walked away, Maya felt it. A shift. For the first time in a long, long time, she felt weightless. Liam no longer had control over her. He never would again. Maya walked out of the restaurant with Chloe at her side, the cool night air washing over her like a cleanse she hadn't realized she needed. The tension that had built up inside her for 2 years was finally unraveling, piece by piece. She didn't look back. Behind her, she could still hear the murmurs inside the restaurant, Liam's family undoubtedly still reeling from the truth she had dropped in their laps. He had spent years spinning his web of lies, and tonight, it had all unraveled in front of the very people he had tried so desperately to impress. Chloe nudged her. I have never been so entertained at a dinner in my life. Maya huffed out a breath, still processing the chaos she had just left behind. I can't believe I actually did that. Believe it. Chloe shot her a proud grin. Because you own that moment. I mean, you just shattered his entire world in front of his parents. That was legendary. Maya wanted to laugh, but there was still an ache in her chest that hadn't quite faded. She had been angry, furious, even, but underneath it all was still the raw sting of heartbreak. The man she had loved, trusted, and planned a future with had never really existed. The real Liam was a fraud, a liar, a coward. She exhaled slowly. I wasted so much time on him. Chloe's expression softened. Yeah, you did. Then, with a small smirk, she added, but at least you got the most epic revenge story out of it. Maya rolled her eyes, but couldn't help the small smile that tugged at her lips. Her phone buzzed, and she glanced down. 13 missed calls. All from Liam. Maya snorted. Oh, now he wants to talk? Chloe leaned over to look at the screen and made a face. Yeah, that's gonna be a hard no. Block him. Maya hesitated for only a second before pressing the block button. It was done. Liam Walker was officially out of her life. Or so she thought. The next morning, Maya woke up to her phone vibrating relentlessly on her nightstand. Groggy, she reached for it and squinted at the screen. 12 missed calls from Liam's mom. 5 from Liam's dad. 8 from an unknown number. And a single text from Zane. You up? You need to see this. Call me ASAP. A strange unease settled in her stomach. She sat up, rubbing the sleep from her eyes, and immediately called Zane. He picked up on the first ring. Maya, you're okay? She frowned. Why wouldn't I be? Zane exhaled sharply. Because Liam's lost it. Maya stiffened. What do you mean? Zane hesitated. Look, I wasn't sure if I should even tell you, but after last night, he completely spiraled. He showed up to work drunk, screaming at people, throwing shit, like, full-on meltdown. Security had to escort him out. Maya's heart pounded. You're kidding. Oh, I wish I was, Zane said grimly. And that's not all. He went on some unhinged rant, saying he was done being nice, and that people would regret messing with him. Then he tried calling his dad for money, and when that didn't work, he lost his mind. Maya swallowed hard. What do you mean by lost his mind? Zane was quiet for a moment. Then, he posted your address online. Maya's blood ran cold. What? I don't know what the hell he was thinking, but he made some drunk, angry post about you, ruining his life, and how people should see what kind of person you really are. He put your name, your apartment building, everything. Maya's hands trembled as she clutched the phone. He doxed me, she whispered. Zane exhaled. Yeah. And then, when people started calling him out for it, he deleted it. But not before a bunch of people screenshotted it. Maya's stomach twisted. This was dangerous. Chloe, who had been lying on the couch half asleep, suddenly sat up. What's wrong? Maya turned to her, voice shaking. Liam posted my address online. Chloe's face went from groggy to murderous in half a second. He what? I'm handling it, Zane said quickly. Liam's parents already know, and his dad freaked. They're cutting him off financially, like, completely. No more safety net. He's done. Maya barely heard him. Her thoughts were spinning, spiraling. What if someone actually showed up at her apartment? What if? A sudden pounding at her door made her flinch. Both she and Chloe froze. Maya's pulse skyrocketed. No, it couldn't be. Another loud bang against the door. "My," a voice shouted from the hallway. Maya's entire body went rigid. It was Liam. Chloe was already moving, snatching up her phone. I'm calling security. Maya's hands shook as she gripped the phone. Zane, she whispered. He's here. Zane cursed. Stay inside. Don't open the door. I'm coming. Outside, Liam continued pounding. Maya, I know you're in there. His voice was slurred, furious. You think you can just destroy me and walk away? Chloe pressed the call button for security. Yeah, hi, this is apartment 3B. We have an unwanted guest. He's screaming outside the door, and we need him removed. Maya pressed herself against the wall, heart hammering. Liam was still shouting, still pounding on the door like he could break it down if he tried hard enough. Then, sirens. A minute later, footsteps thundered down the hall. And then, back away from the door. A security guard's voice, firm and authoritative. Silence. Then a scuffle. A grunt. And then, finally, Liam's voice, panicked and angry. I was just trying to talk to her. You're done here, the guard barked. Let's go. Maya let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. Chloe peeked through the peephole. They're dragging his pathetic ass out. Maya closed her eyes. It was over. An hour later, after the security team assured her Liam was banned from the building, after Zane and Liam's mother both called to apologize, after Chloe triple-checked that every lock was secure, Maya sat on the couch, staring at her phone. A single, unread message from Liam. You think you won? You'll regret this. Maya didn't react. She simply pressed block. And this time, she knew, without a doubt, Liam was done controlling her life. Maya sat on her couch, knees drawn up to her chest, staring at the wall. The past 24 hours had been a storm of chaos, leaving her emotionally drained and mentally exhausted. The weight of everything that had happened settled deep in her bones, heavier than anything she had ever carried. Liam had crossed every line. It wasn't enough that he had humiliated her, lied to her, used her for 2 years. No, he had to take it further. He had to lash out, expose her private information, show up at her door like a man unhinged. She pressed a hand to her forehead, breathing deeply. Across the room, Chloe was pacing, muttering curses under her breath. I swear to God, if that asshole tries anything else, I'm personally running him over with my car. Maya let out a hollow laugh. Please record it if you do. Chloe stopped pacing and turned to her, face softening. You okay? Maya hesitated. Was she okay? She felt hollow. Liam had been ripped out of her life so violently, leaving behind a mess of shattered trust and wasted time. There was anger, yes. But beneath it, there was still the raw sting of heartbreak. She had loved him once. Or at least, she had loved the version of him he had carefully crafted. That version had never really existed. I don't know, she admitted finally. Chloe plopped down next to her and nudged her shoulder. That's okay. You don't have to be okay right now. Maya nodded, biting her lip. It's just. I spent 2 years defending him. Making excuses. Telling myself he wasn't that bad. She let out a dry laugh. Turns out, He was worse. Chloe's expression turned serious. Look, I know you're hurting. But can I just say something? Maya sighed. You're gonna say it anyway. You dodged a bullet, Maya. Maya closed her eyes. She knew Chloe was right. But knowing it and feeling it were two different things. A sharp knock at the door made them both jump. Maya's pulse spiked. Chloe shot to her feet instantly, grabbing the nearest object, which happened to be a candle, and holding it like a weapon. If that's Liam, I'm committing arson. Maya swallowed hard and walked to the door, peeking through the peephole. It wasn't Liam. It was Zane. Relief washed over her as she unlocked the door and pulled it open. Zane gave her a hesitant smile, holding up a plastic bag. Figured you probably haven't eaten, so I brought takeout. Thought you might need some company. Maya blinked, surprised. Of all the people who had been caught in the crossfire of Liam's meltdown, Zane was the last one she had expected to show up at her door with food. Chloe narrowed her eyes at him, still holding the candle. You're not about to deliver more bad news, are you? Zane raised a brow. Depends. You consider dumplings bad news. Chloe huffed and stepped aside. Fine. You can stay. But only because I'm hungry. Maya managed a small smile and stepped back, letting Zane in. He set the bag down on the coffee table and turned to Maya, expression softer now. How are you holding up? Maya hesitated. I'm processing. Zane nodded, as if he understood that feeling all too well. That makes sense. It's a lot. Chloe plopped onto the couch, already digging through the takeout bag. Liam had a full-blown meltdown, right? Zane sighed, running a hand through his hair. Oh, yeah. You have no idea. After he got kicked out of the building, he started blowing up our group chats, ranting about how everyone turned on him, and Maya ruined his life. Maya scoffed. I ruined his life? Zane smirked. That's what I said. Like, buddy, you lied for 2 years. You got yourself fired. You lost your family's respect. All Maya did was tell the truth. Chloe snorted. Men are allergic to consequences. Zane chuckled but then turned serious. His parents are done with him. His dad cut him off financially. He's completely on his own now. Maya took a slow breath, absorbing that information. Liam had built his entire identity around status, wealth, and power. Now, he had none of it. Where is he now? She asked cautiously. Zane hesitated. He left town. Maya blinked. What? Yeah. His parents basically told him to figure his life out somewhere else, so he packed up and left this morning. No one knows where he went. Chloe let out a low whistle. Wow! The main character of his own fake success story just got written out of the script. Maya let out a slow exhale. It was over. Really, truly over. Liam was gone. For the first time in days, she felt like she could breathe. She turned to Zane. Thank you. For everything. Zane shrugged. You don't have to thank me. You deserved to know the truth. Maya hesitated. Still, you didn't have to get involved. But you did. And I appreciate it. Zane met her gaze, something unreadable flickering in his expression. I think we've all been manipulated by Liam in some way. You just got the worst of it. Maya swallowed, nodding. Chloe, who had been listening quietly, suddenly sat up straighter. Okay. This has been a lot, but can we focus on the real question now? Zane raised a brow. Which is? Chloe grinned. How do we celebrate Maya's freedom? Maya blinked. Celebrate? Duh. Chloe waved a dumpling in the air. You just cut off the most toxic person in your life. That calls for something big. Zane chuckled. I mean, she has a point. Maya hesitated, then let out a small laugh. For so long, she had been drowning in the wreckage Liam had left behind. But now? Now there was nothing holding her back. Maybe it was time to celebrate. She took a deep breath, a real smile breaking across her face. Okay, she said. Let's celebrate. And for the first time in a long time, she felt free. Maya sat on the balcony of her apartment, a warm cup of tea cradled between her hands as the city stretched before her. The world felt different now, lighter, quieter. As if she had finally stepped outside of a storm she hadn't even realized she was trapped in. It had been a week since Liam vanished from her life. A week of unanswered calls from his parents, vague rumors from old mutual acquaintances, and an overwhelming sense of relief that he was gone. Not just physically, but emotionally. For the first time in 2 years, Maya wasn't waiting for the next argument, the next passive-aggressive comment, the next moment of walking on eggshells. She was free. A knock at her door snapped her out of her thoughts. She stood, setting her tea down before opening it to find Chloe grinning at her, holding a bottle of champagne in one hand and a bag of takeout in the other. "Please tell me you're finally out of your emotional brooding era," Chloe said, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. "Because I brought sushi, and I will not eat it next to a girl still mourning her emotionally stunted ex." Maya rolled her eyes but smiled. "I'm not mourning, Liam." Chloe plopped down on the couch, raising an eyebrow. "No more late-night existential spirals?" Maya hesitated. "Not as many." Chloe popped the champagne open with a celebratory pop, pouring it into 2 mismatched mugs from Maya's cabinet. "Progress." She handed one to Maya, then raised hers. "To getting rid of toxic men and finally living our best lives." Maya clinked her mug against Chloe's. "I'll drink to that." As they sipped, Maya let out a deep breath. "I keep thinking about how different my life is now. How different I feel." Chloe leaned back against the couch. "Because you finally put yourself first." Maya nodded slowly. For so long, she had made herself small for Liam. She had compromised, apologized, adjusted herself to fit into his world. Now, she didn't have to do that anymore. "Do you ever feel like you wasted time on someone?" Maya asked. Chloe exhaled. "Of course. But it wasn't a waste." Maya frowned. "How do you figure?" Chloe turned to her, eyes serious. "You learned. You grew. You saw exactly what you don't want in a relationship. That's not wasted time. That's just a really painful lesson." Maya thought about that. Maybe she was right. But still, it was hard not to think about all the good moments, the laughs, the inside jokes, the late-night talks. Had any of it been real? Or had it all just been part of Liam's carefully constructed illusion? Before she could dwell on it too much, her phone buzzed. A message from Zane. "Zane, I hope you're not spending your night thinking about that loser. Because if so, I'm officially staging an intervention." Maya laughed, shaking her head as she typed back. "Maya, no interventions needed." Chloe already broke out the champagne. "Zane, smart woman. Also, are you free tomorrow?" Maya hesitated. She hadn't seen Zane since the night Liam was dragged out of her apartment building. They had texted here and there, but it still felt new. Different. "Maya, depends." "Why?" "Zane, because I think you deserve a day of fun. No exes, no drama, just good company and something that reminds you that life is still awesome." Maya bit her lip. Chloe, who had been reading over her shoulder like the nosy best friend she was, gasped dramatically. "Oh my God. Is this Zane asking you out?" Maya rolled her eyes. "It's not like that." Chloe wiggled her eyebrows. "Are you sure?" Maya hesitated. Truthfully, she didn't know what this was. But maybe that was okay. Because for the first time in a long time, she wasn't focused on what someone else wanted from her. She was just doing what felt right. And right now? Right now, she wanted to say yes. She smiled down at her phone and typed her response. "Maya, sounds perfect. I'm in." And just like that, she stepped into the next chapter of her life.